Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Banished with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to the ever-glorious village of Lathsburg, now with its little blacksmithing add-on. Today, instead of more rapid growth and rather risky ventures, we're going to be doing the smart thing, which includes upgrading our already glorious village, and making it, well, even more glorious, honestly. And the way we're going to be doing that is by sorting out some of the more redundant buildings, reallocating certain areas, and of course producing bricks for the very first time. So right now I'm going to be ignoring the traders and we're going to get straight into the brick production, which I believe are found in refined resources. There we are. The brickworks. Using a furnace, the brickworks creates hot blasted shaped bricks for advanced buildings. Let's put that right there. Now I'm going to be putting it here because this area honestly isn't the most in-demand area. It's far away from two of the main settlement areas, and without some major effort that will cause buildings here to be less efficient. Now, I don't really need a massive income of bricks, and to be perfectly honest, we're not even producing all that many. That's producing reeds, there we go. We're producing, what, how much sand to actually make bricks? 42 currently this season. We're not making many bricks, simple as that. And no to the nomads as always, I'm afraid. I am denying them. Goodbye. We don't need labourers anymore, and honestly, the uneducated labourers can cause havoc if they get into the wrong jobs, such as the blacksmith. So, speaking about the blacksmith, the iron market, as you may see, has already been decommissioned in terms of work. We are going to be removing the iron market. We're going to be removing this blacksmith and removing this blacksmith. We don't need them down here, quite frankly. Their whole purpose is now, well, it's came and gone now that we have the blacksmiths over there. We will also now be starting to produce candles once more, and we don't need any furnace fuel just yet. So that's all that lovely and sorted. How much sand do we actually currently have stockpiled is a very good question. 0. We seriously have 0 sand stockpiled. Whoa, we've been making way too much glass. Okay, stop making glass. How much glass do we have then? 506. Yeah, you know what? Stop making glass. This is why I wish you could limit certain materials rather than all materials. I'm also going to be taking away this tavern and reproducing it somewhere else. No, because it actually acts as a storage. For now, we'll be leaving that, but we are going to be... Ooh, turtle. We will actually be moving to different kinds of alcohol production in the future. One thing I do want to look into is actually producing mead, which I believe you need the regular brewery for, I want to say. I think, yeah, and also we have too many blacksmiths right now. So let's... Wait, we have one extra blacksmith, and what was the other one I just deleted, which I shouldn't have? Oh, of course, the glass maker, because of course it's not being worked currently, is it? Of course. Should I just leave you in that job? No, I think the best idea would be to work it, but have no one working as a job. That would be a lot easier, similar to the fuel refinery. We also need to figure out a way to make our people a little bit happier and a little bit healthier. Now, there are multiple ways we can do this, like the apothecary. The apothecary, is that how you pronounce it? One of the new health buildings, amongst many other. So we have the apothecary. We can also increase the types of food we're eating, because currently we are pretty limited despite all the different things we have. And one way we can do that, and one way I'm going to do that, is we're going to be placing a new butcher. Now, your food... How much food are you actually producing per year? Wow. So, previous season that much... Well, this season's been far better. And you're all probably very similar, aren't you? It all depends on how many of the little babies were born. Okay, so you're actually producing more stuff than I thought you were, particularly with the bone meal, which is actually a good trade item. The llamas seem like a really good trade item, so you're producing a lot of meat, that's correct. So we could be turning all of that lovely meat into lovely llama cuts of venison or whatever. What? We'll be turning the llama cuts into venison. That makes complete sense. No. We can be turning the meat, though, into different cuts of meat, which will actually increase health because they all count as different types of food. Hurrah for the game thinking like that. So that would be in the food section, in the food refining, no issue in the butcher stalls, and then we have the llama butcher. Now, I think what I may be doing as well is actually moving this storage barn up here once I delete these two down here. I have no idea where the food's actually being stored currently. I'd imagine it's being stored in... If it's not being stored in this storage warehouse, is it being stored over here in this... Let's see. I can't see it. Do we simply just have no llama meat left? We have only 100 left, so... Is it even worth it, is the question, I suppose. I guess we should just put them here, because I imagine this is where they're being stored before the markets get them, so... We'll put a llama butcher there, since we have a little bit of space here, and then we'll think about that in the future. So, we'll just skip ahead now until we can finish off the brickworks, and then we will be, well, seeing how it works. There we are, our brick house is up and running, and in addition to this, we have 2 lovely shore houses dedicated to producing it clay. Although I am actually going to be changing one of these straight away to reeds, as it turns out this thing, well, just simply can't keep up with that much clay. And in fact, we should make a very, very small little stockpile just here for the clay and, well, just for clay itself, in fact. At least I do hope the clay can be put in the stockpile, which it can. Fantastic. In addition to this, I should have by now, put some bricks into the farm supply. Actually, no, I haven't, but at least we can see the value. The value is actually pretty good. Now, I'll need to check how much the clay itself is worth and just how much we actually produce of the lovely bricks. So far I've made 15, but we've only just turned it on. It's one of those things we'll just have to keep an eye out for, because, well, if bricks are worth something, we finally have a good use for our furnace fuel, which means we can keep the whole system alive and kicking without the need to constantly change things. Now, in addition to all this, I have now started a new standard pasture over here for bison that just so happened to be sold here. I was actually waiting for it on the farm supplier. I even put out an order, but of course if you don't order it, it's a lot cheaper, so I'm perfectly okay with this particular trade. Now if I do that, that'll be overpaying, won't it? Yep, by a fair margin. Let's just do, there we go, overpaying by a tiny little bit, there we go. Overpaying by 10, okay, just because it'll be easy to get the perfect one. But I thought that... And then I can't... See, I can't math. That's the problem. I just can't do mental math. There we go. We now have bison, which I assume are going to be really good for meat, and I'm hoping can also produce milk. I'm certainly assuming so. If cows can produce milk, I'm sure we'll also get bison milk. In addition to all this, we have started some new farms, which aren't currently being, well, used to their fullest. We have tomatoes, spinach, watermelon, and tomatoes again. Now, these are actually to test something, because I've had a quick look-see online, and although I'm certainly no min-maxer, I don't really care too much about the most perfect and efficient way to do things, I would like to see if this is true. According to several sites, the most efficient crop size farms you can have is 11 by 11, because one single farmer, as long as it's close enough to the storage barns, of course these aren't, so I'll be building some storage barns here soon, once I remove the gatherer's hut, which was just simply there until I built all this. Yeah, one farmer can apparently take the entire farm and get 100% yield out of it. And honestly, from seeing that, I do believe that's possible if, again, we have the storage barns close enough. I guess that is one of the problems with having such small fields. You tend to need storage barns a little bit more scattered. Now, why did someone die? A stonecutter was crushed by a rock. Not exactly the most pleasant way to go by any stretch of the imagination. The standard pasture just needs to be built. Fantastic. So, we have loads of labourers ready. So, let's max out our farmers again. And what we shall do then is start the upgrades. We should have enough bricks to be upgrading this blacksmith, which is currently actually being worked. So, we're going to have a non-working blacksmith until that's finished, but that's absolutely fine. And we'll upgrade our builders a little bit because we have, well, spare labourers, honestly. Okay, so we'll have bison soon for an additional bit of food, which we will be putting down a butcher's for. We already have our lovely lamb butchers working away, making... I actually don't know. Okay, cool, we have... You see, I actually googled this, and apparently there's meant to be a little thing there, so that's not actually how you're meant to say it. But it is just, Shackery. No, sorry, Sharky. Sharky. Because I looked at it, and originally I was going to say Charky, but apparently it's sh. So it's Sharky. I may be wrong there, but apparently that's just actually like a form of preserving food. It's similar to jerky, so it isn't llama specifically. So that's really weird that they've chosen that name, but Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, the standard pasture is almost finished. We just need a worker to come back and finish off, and I'll be back in a second when all that lovely stuff has happened. Well, although the new blacksmith isn't quite finished yet, we have just got something interesting. We now have hemp, which of course will be used to produce rope in the future in a much more efficient and more controlled manner than using the shore houses, which of course can be converted to catch turtles or catch frogs for food later, so they certainly won't be going to waste. You don't have the materials required. That's probably clay, since now only one of these shore houses is actually producing that. Also, they aren't using the stockpile because there was iron nearby apparently. Geez, how much iron are we producing that it's getting all the way over there? We need a much larger stockpile. There we go. And because we're... oh, there we go. The new smithy is here. Let's change you to coal. There we go. So, we now have the large smithy. We can make muskets, we can make steel tools. So, the first thing I do notice, which is a little bit saddening, is that the steel tools can't use charcoal. Ah, because that would have been so much easier. But that's absolutely fine. We're now upgrading to steel tools. Sorry, my voice is going a bit. It is quite late at night and I've been working all day. But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And now that this one's working, we'll start upgrading the second blacksmith as well, since we don't really want iron tools at all as soon as we can, well, start producing steel, which we're already doing, so hurrah for that. We've also made some storage barns, which is lovely, and one autumn did go past, and yes indeed, the single worker was able to collect the entire field. So then technically, I assume if you do a 22 by 22, 4 labourers would be able to work that perfectly, I assume. Although it's kind of cool having all the little tiny fields there. Okay, it's autumn already, and yeah, it's being collected nicely. Although, to be honest, that didn't seem to be seeded perfectly. So maybe it's because the houses are too far away. There's so many factors, particularly with efficiency. I've also noticed that someone's homeless. Why on earth are you homeless? We have houses. In fact, we still have spare houses. We're still producing a lot of children. Not quite sure about that, but we do now have our bison. Have they produced anything yet? No. Here's hoping that they'll produce milk soon. Let there be cows. Yes, indeed. We now have the regular and fantastic cows, which definitely produce milk. In fact, by the looks of it, as soon as they spawned, they actually produced milk, which I'm fairly certain can be drank as a foodstuff as it is. I'm not sure how good of a foodstuff it is, but food nonetheless, which means, like chickens, they produce a constant supply, which is wonderful. So, we have our new bison, we have our new cows, we have bricks, we have all sorts of wondrous things. Our food production is off the charts, and very soon, once the second smithy is actually built, we're currently waiting on bricks, our tool problems will be a thing of the past, as we now have steel tools which last 4 times as long. At least I believe that was the case. It's either 4 times or 2 times. Regardless, they are a lot better. So, what do we do now? How do we continue to upgrade our village? Well, honestly, we have too many labourers, and I'm already wasting them by putting them all in the pastures. Other than certain pastures which produce constant supplies, you really don't need that many people working them. And even the ones which do produce constant supplies, such as wool, you still don't need the maximum working them, honestly. Even I notice that is a huge waste. So what are we going to do with our labourers to improve our quality of life? Well, one thing I have noticed is that a lot of our ventures are very, very space consuming, particularly things like the apiaries, which produce almost nothing for their size. And of course, even our pastures, which I love and will never remove, are very large for very little output. And then there's multiple other things which all do the same problem. So we really do need to figure out what we're going to trade. So what I'm going to be doing now is making a lovely bridge over here, a little drawbridge in fact, since we always have the boats coming through, so I figure that's the only thing which would look right, and we're going to put it actually here, closer to this village, and we're going to start hemp farming over here, because that just seems cool to me, having it separate and stuff. Go away, and go away. So that's one thing we're doing. We're going to actually do something for our labour as well to do, so we actually make something for them to work on, but we also need something to increase our happiness and our health. So I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, I very well may have. We're going to go ahead and produce the apothecary as soon as we have enough bricks. So what's the problem, sir? Why are you not able to produce them? Is it actually because of the furnace fuel? Is that what... Oh my lord, we've actually managed to run out of furnace fuel. That is fantastic. Start the engines, boys. We're once again burning the charcoal. Haha! Glorious. And we're already out of that. That's... The llamas produce no food. It's... For that, look how little it is. Honestly, I do think sheep seems so much better. So, okay, while that's going on, what else can we do then to improve happiness? The one thing, honestly, is the chapel. We're currently really lacking in the religious area there because, well, we've got this tiny little parish house which has long met its maximum quota. So, let's go ahead and let's make a proper church. Is it actually just called church? No, it's called a chapel, I just said that. Over here. Make it a little... make it here, yes, indeed. And that will also allow us to build a new cemetery, which we desperately need. Which, of course, is also contributing to the overall very slight, very slight sadness of our village. Also, I need to turn off the orders because we keep on ordering hemp seeds. We already have them, thank you. Please, no more. So many things to do, and then we really desperately need to start producing alcohol as well, because our tiny little winery here just can't keep up. Now, how much is it making a year? It's making very little. Very little. Actually, no, per season. You know what I mean, though. It's making remarkably little per cycle. So, what else is there? How many watermelons are we producing a year? That's a good... Actually, no, how much do we have in our inventory, I should say? Because that's what I want to see. We need a new winery. We need several new wineries. And also, why is it down here when our main watermelon production is all the way up here? Again, that's just inefficiency. It's been so long since we have actually started upgrading. Well, we don't need a lot of this stuff down here. If this is going to be the pasture area, we just don't need it. No. And... honestly, there's very little you could say which I'd actually want. Actually, saying that... Screw it, I want carrots. Give me carrots, yummy, fantastical carrots. That is what I want. Okay, and we need how much more? 900 more, so just 900 beeswax, because that's the one thing we are getting from the apiaries. There we go, we can now produce carrots, so next season, several of these. Let's have 2 of these changed into carrot production. There we go. A bit more variety in food is never a bad thing. So... back to the bricks. So we're now actually producing bricks. Fantastic. That means that the smithy will be finished soon. So back when that happens. Both blacksmiths are now up and running, and our tools are once again growing in number. So for a brief moment I did have a bit of a scare, because out of nowhere we went down to only 10 tools. It turns out quite a few people must have broke the tools after the last shortage, and it was rather terrifying, me thinking that, oh lord, we're going to have another tool shortage, but thankfully the second blacksmith was made just in time. I would also like to confirm that bison do not produce milk, and cows produce a hell of a lot of it. I'm really hoping that milk is actually something that is constantly consumed. So if we look at production... oh no, we can only look at food itself, can't we? That's a shame. I would like to see if the milk is going up and down, considering we're not actually using it for anything. Of course, you can use it in multiple things, such as making... I believe there is actually a dairy, isn't there? You can turn milk into something more interesting. We have the preservists, sugar house, salting house, smokehouse, bakery, watermelon. Is there not? There we go, the dairy, butter, cream and cheese from milk. So that's kind of fantastic, but I do want to see if... yeah, milk is definitely consumed, okay. So we could produce a dairy and go a lot more cows. So what do we have here? Nothing of use. Honestly, there's almost nothing we want until... this is going to sound weird. Until we want something, there is nothing we want. But it is true. They're never going to offer something which I go, yes, I need this, because I've actually now seen everything they do have to offer. We are also now making our rural market for the future hemp farms. So, what is there to do now? We still need happiness, we have got the chapel up and running, and our health is back to maximum because of our glorious... well, we have a lot more variety of food, which is really good for the health of our citizens. We should still make the apothecary, however, because it isn't exactly the most expensive building. So, what do you actually look like? Nothing special. You look like a really regular building. I guess you should go where the population is greatest, which very soon will be the farming region over here. So let's put that next to the... No, we won't put it next to a chapel. We'll put it on the end here, next to this urban area. And next to the chapel, this will help with future happiness. Where are you? We'll go ahead and make our cemetery. Not exactly the nicest of things, I know, but it is a necessary requirement to ensure that people get a respectful place to rest after their timely deletion from the game, let's say. So there we are, we're now making a cemetery, we have that, fantastic. How else do we make people happy? Honestly, I want to start growing tobacco. I want to see if we can, well yeah, start making pipe tobacco in a large enough number we can actually have some use out of it. Currently, we're actually trading all of the wine we have for various goods, so we don't really need the tavern because we don't keep the wine there. However, I will be making a much bigger tavern because that's cool, and as soon as that's built, we will be focusing on making a lot more alcohol, tobacco, and all sorts of things. In fact, the hemp farm over here could also be a tobacco area, so that's something to note. We don't want that worked just yet. There's absolutely no need since there's no one living there. So, tobacco. I assume that'll be in the orders. Please go to the right one. That would be fantastic if you do. No! I'm going to assume you can't. Yep. You do sell a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, we could start automatically purchasing stuff like tobacco and such and trade our goods for it. But honestly, yeah, here's the thing. We do need to eventually figure out at least one set of goods which we will automatically trade for. And honestly, this doesn't seem like a bad idea. We could trade lumber, wool, and rope, well, actually no, particularly rope, for things like pipe tobacco, coffee, spirits, and tea. Particularly coffee. Okay, so let's see. Orders. From now on, please always bring with you tea, tobacco, and coffee. And I will, and rum, because, no, and mead, I do love mead, it has to be said. So, okay, automatically purchase. Here's a problem. If someone else comes here, though, and tries to sell luxuries, we'll end up buying that as well. Again, the game, I do feel, has a few flaws, because it has so many different items, but no specific amounts like this. So, okay, from now on, every time this comes by, buy the maximum luxuries. This is what this trading post will do. So for now, you are dismissed. In fact, let's do it so when the merchant leaves. Okay, and dismissed. And now we should have loads of really shiny things. Do we have loads of really shiny things? We have coffee! Yep, we have all the good stuff. Okay, so now we need to figure out what exactly we're going to trade. And that's where the hemp will come in. The hemp and the rope. Because as you can see, rope is worth 35 each. Although it does take a lot of resources and effort. But if we can perhaps make a large area for that, well, that's going to be most of our stuff sorted. So let's put that back to work. We're going to actually want a few more than we currently have, to be honest, because I have noticed a bit of a slowing of goods being transported from one area to another, and we will start our little hemp farm over here. Country houses, you know what, let's go with the good ones. People who live here, you get to live in real comfort. First of all, let's have a single large residence here, which will be the market owner, and possibly the landowner, honestly, if it's going to be something like hemp. And then we're going to have country houses because we have loads of glass. So let's make this a really good area, particularly since it's going to be nowhere near the fuel production, so it's going to be a little bit less efficient in that way because fuel has to be ferried here all the time, so if there's too much of a desire, it can be a bit of an issue for the... What do you call the people who actually work in the markets? I actually have a vendor for the vendors. Well, there we go then. So, I think, though, I will be cutting it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then, of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and, most importantly, shows that Banished is a series you wish to see continued in the future. And hopefully next time, I won't have a broken voice. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.